If you are waiting for someone to come and say, "Hey, let's go on an adventure, let's go," it's me. It's me. I'm here to tell you today that it's time for you to go on an adventure to get life exciting again, or just to make life exciting, period. Because no one else is going to do that for you. So I said, you know what? Let me take this opportunity to be Finn and Jake. It's adventure time. We need to go. Okay. So you need to listen to me. We're going, or else you're going to be waiting for someone forever. That excitement that's going to be brought into your life is going to be through spontaneity. And being spontaneous, according to a psychologist, is being open to whatever situation is being presented to you at a given time. Okay. So being open, you don't need anyone else to do this. Only you can bring this type of energy into your life. And spontaneity is so important for our health and wellness. There's a ton of benefits that I can list off to you: mental health, creativity, less boredom, social life. Spontaneity can bleed into all the areas of our lives. But the reason why spontaneity is so important, if we want to create an umbrella, that umbrella would be expansiveness. Spontaneity brings expansiveness into your life, and that just spreads into your well being. It makes you a more well person. Let's think about the movie Coraline. If you haven't watched the movie Coraline, that is a banger of a movie. You need to go watch Coraline. Okay. I don't, once you see it's a cartoon, if you never watch it, still watch it. It's deep, it's crazy. But in that movie, Coraline is a young girl who ends up finding this magic little door that when she goes through it brings her into a world that is very similar to it's the same, but she has a fake mother. She has fake everything there. And there's a point in the movie, a little spoiler alert, where she sees that the world is just the world. Like she can't go beyond into a certain place. The world just starts over again, right? It's like if you walk through your front door and you go outside, but outside is actually back through your front door. It's kind of a loop. And that's what the opposite of spontaneity, having everything planned, can do for us. It becomes like a dream sequence where we're waking up every single day and living the same life over and over again. And this is actually detrimental to our mental health. There have been studies on this that planning everything can decrease your well being. So we need this sense of spontaneity, especially if you are American. If you're not American, you have a leg up on this. But I know a lot of places in the world are becoming westernized. But I remember in Spanish class, I was learning about people in Latin America and how they might say, let's meet at 1 o'clock. But that 1 o'clock wasn't 1 o'clock. It was really show up when you want to within a 2 hour time span. Like we say 1 o'clock, most people actually start showing up at 3. So other cultures do this thing well where they leave room for spontaneity in their lives. They leave room for this expansion to be let into their lives to create whatever, to create possibility. And you can see this when you travel. People move slower and they're just a little bit more calm, a little bit more on edge because not everything needs to be planned. So today we're going to talk about how spontaneity will actually increase your health and your well-being. Spontaneity helps you to reduce fear. And the way it helps you to reduce fear is when someone suggests you to do something with you, say they want to go to the zoo after work, there will be something in you, or let me use a different example. Let's say it's not the zoo because I feel like a lot of people are familiar with the zoo. Or fine, let's just stay on track, all right? Say someone that you met at work starting a new job invites you to the zoo after work, but this person is new, you've never hung out with them. And so you might feel a little bit of fear. The initial response that most people have is to say no, because what happens is when our brains can't predict an outcome, they can't see what's coming, They try to protect us and they start creating negative scenarios or negative thoughts. And when you say yes to things like this, it creates spontaneity and it lets you get rid of that fear because you're showing your brain that actually it's okay if I say yes and go to the zoo with this new coworker of mine after work. You will see that it's just another way to expand. You will see that everything's going to be fine. And so the more you get your reps in with saying yes and doing things that you haven't done before, the less fear you're going to have about certain things. We need to move like our frontal lobes are not developed. We have to stop thinking, stop being so logical, move like your frontal lobe is not developed. And if it is not developed for you yet, take take advantage of that, okay? And start to do things that you would never do before. This is going to help you calm that fear in your brain. The fear part of your brain is your amygdala. And when your amygdala is stimulated, that will keep you in survival mode and that is the opposite of wellness mode, which is what we want to be in at all times. As most as we can, because sometimes survival mode is definitely helpful. And if you want to learn more about survival mode versus wellness mode, I put a video on that yesterday or the day before. I'm posting every day, so I don't even remember at this point, but I will link that in the description for you. So you can watch that and see how you can, make your actions lean more toward wellness mode so that you can be thriving instead of survival mode. So when spontaneity helps you get rid of that fear, it naturally will regulate your nervous system, bring that expansiveness into your life, and get your brain to stop being so shook all the time. Like the brain just be shook for no reason. Okay. Another way you can use spontaneity to be healthy is to just go outside with a goal and just walk. There's two ways you can do this. You can go outside with a goal and walk, or you can go outside without a goal and just walk. Okay, so going outside with a goal and walking connects you with your intuition. And intuition is a part of health and well being. It shows you that you are connected to the spirit inside of you, that you can hear God's voice inside of you telling you which way to go. And that's always going to be a positive. That's always going to feel good and make you feel like you have connection to the source. The source is the source of everything, the source is our provider, our provision. So when we have that connection, we automatically feel expansive. God is everything. God is powerful. So let's take an example. When I had a client, right? I had a client and it was a photo shoot. I had no, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later. A little bit, I'm going to mention it. But I decided to be a food photographer. And so I had a client and I needed to find a background that was going to be exactly what she needed for her brand. It was a coffee brand that she had and she was getting ready to launch. So we wanted to do some product photos of her coffee, some really cool shots. But I don't have a studio. She don't have a studio. We are both just starting out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go outside. I know the perfect area that's in my neighborhood that's going to have somewhere that I could go. I'm looking for a pink background because that's her brand color. And I know an area that has a lot of pink. So I said, you know what? I'm going outside. I have this goal. I'm going to find the perfect area to shoot this shoot. And I started walking. The first step that I took here, I want you to pay attention because spontaneity connects you with your intuition. But here's how you're going to trust your intuition, right? First thing you have to do is set a clear intention, set a clear goal. My goal was to find the background, right? Boom, decision made. So first step, make a decision on what's happening, basically make an intention. So I set outside and I just started walking. Okay, so step two is gonna just be walk and trust whichever way you turn. I was walking, God said, make this right, make this left, go this way. And also, when you're trusting this, when you're in communion with God in this way, He's gonna give you some signs if you're able to read them. This takes practice, all right? So for me on this walk, I'm looking for a pink background, right? And I see these cars driving past. They're for a maid service. So somebody was going to clean somebody's house. And it was a black car, all black, but the words were in pink. The brand name was in pink on the car. So I seen one car go that way. And I was like, God, are you telling me to go this way? And I just kept walking. And then I seen another car in the same direction because they were probably on their way to clean someone's house. And I said, okay, I gotta go this way. So I'm following the signs. I made the decision. I'm trusting God and I'm following those signs. And as I'm following these signs, I just feel a sense of, okay, like safety, like I'm doing the right thing. I don't feel off. And so I keep going, I keep going. God tells me to make this left, go down this way. And so I kept walking, kept walking. And then the last step is basically to achieve. Like you will achieve it. I walked and I walked and I looked right in front of me and there was this perfect shipping container. I'm talking about perfect for this woman's brand that I was shooting. It was the exact color pink that is her brand color. Not only that, it had a mural on it of different colored people, like literally different color, like yellow face, blue face, like not like brown, realistic colors. But different colored people, which I liked that as well. And they were drinking coffee. They were in the neighborhood. They were in a community, and neighborhood was a part of her brand. So not only that, the people were drinking coffee, which is her brand. It was just like perfect. Okay, it was perfect. And I remember standing there and I was like, God led me here. God led me here. All I had to do was listen. This is how being spontaneous can expand your life. It's like when you travel and you see a new place for the first time. And now when you go back home, your brain has a expanded map of the world. That's what being spontaneous can do for you. It will give you an expanded map of the world when you're able to just listen and tune into your intuition because things will start showing up that you were like, wait, I actually thought of this and it showed up. So it gives you a connection to your intuition. Go outside with a goal and just walk. It it's going to bring you so much joy. Now, you can also go outside and just walk with no goals. Just walk and just explore. Okay, this is something that's very easy to start doing and practicing if you might be afraid to start doing spontaneous things. It's super easy to just go outside and walk, right? And don't have a certain place in mind. Just walk and explore wherever you are. Go somewhere new that you've not been yet and put your phone away. Don't start looking for directions to anywhere. You're going with nowhere to go. Okay, just go with nowhere to go. And the one time I did this that was super, super memorable, and I'm gonna show y'all where I went to. I was in Curacao. I had just been done with the beach, but it was still really nice out. I didn't want to go out yet, go back inside yet because I'm going back inside when the sun is setting. All right. That was my rule back then. When the sun is setting, that's when I go back. So I was like, all right, what can I do? So I started walking. And in front of me were these beautiful big doors. This is what I don't even know if this is a real memory, but this is what I envisioned. And so I walked through it and it's a resort. It's a resort and I walk on the resort. Okay. Now, when you're doing things like this, Your intention should be good. You shouldn't be like, I'm gonna walk in the resort, I'm gonna turn stuff up, like I'm gonna mess this up. No, I'm just an explorer. I'm harmless. I know my intentions. So I carry that energy. And I also put myself in the energy of someone who is actually on the resort because I already look like it. I just went to the beach. So I look like naturally I'm at this resort. People are not about to ask me questions about why I'm here. They don't know if I have a room here. These are my thoughts. So I'm walking and I'm like, okay, this is nice. This is nice. I'm walking around the resort. I see people laid out. They have just pools and just water and these outdoor mini villa type of things. And it's all woodsy and tropical and water's running everywhere. It felt like I stepped into Bali, Indonesia. It didn't feel like Curacao anymore. It felt like Bali, Indonesia. And I was like, wow, if I never just started walking and exploring with nowhere to go, just open-minded, I would have never experienced this. And my world was expanded right then and there. Now, I looked up this resort so I could show y'all where I was at. So y'all could kind of just see like imagine how beautiful to just step into a place like this. How beautiful is that? Just like water, trees, little bridges, lots of different little pools that people go into. You see the outdoor kind of mini like tiki type of hut vibes of the resort. This person's obviously on their balcony. And I was like, wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful place. And I was so happy to just have that experience. I left feeling a sense of abundance that a place like that existed, that God allowed me to step foot there with ease. You know, I felt safe there. It was just this beautiful oasis. So I was connecting with him, connecting with, my intuition and just feeling super good and expansive through that spontaneity. I left with my nervous system more regulated. I left inspired because I was like, okay, imagine if I got to stay here. Imagine if I could just book a stay here and feel all relaxed like these people. Even though I had just come from the beach and I was very relaxed, it was still like, there's an opportunity for me to be here. I had no idea a place like this existed. And not only that, they probably have more places like this that are even more luxurious. Okay. So, another way that spontaneity is going to bring you some health is because when you follow intrusive thoughts, so be spontaneous by following your intrusive thoughts, and this will bring you a sense of freedom. Freedom is an important part of your well-being. It's an important part of feeling good. When you don't feel free, you feel trapped. It just brings a host of other negative spirits with it, right? You feel trapped. Like now you're stressed. Now you're anxious. Now you're depressed. Like being bound and not being able to move and restricted as humans is detrimental to our well-being. So when you have this sense of freedom because you're following your intrusive thoughts, it brings you more health and it also kills boredom, which is a huge reason why a lot of us have phone addiction because we get bored and we just snatch up our phones and go on it. And the phone addiction is very detrimental to our health. Screen time is bad for our health. Blue light is bad for our health. Blue light messes with our hormones, okay? It messes with our melatonin. Screen time messes with our brains. It actually changes our brains, the gray matter in our brains, and screen time can cause a bunch of mental issues. I talk about this in the video that I posted recently, talking about getting on Substack and deactivating your TikTok and Instagram. I'll link that in the description as well. So you can just know more about screen time and the negative effects that it has on our bodies. And that's for the most part because of our phone addictions and because we're bored. So when you're bored and you allow yourself to have these intrusive thoughts come in and you just do it, first of all, it's like a moment of breaking the fourth wall. If you don't know what breaking the fourth wall is, breaking the fourth wall is when you're watching a movie and then the person looks directly at the camera and is talking directly to you. So a good example of this is Enola Holmes. Enola Holmes looks directly at the camera and starts talking to you. That's breaking the fourth wall. I think The Office does this too, like shows like Modern Family where it's like someone is recording them all the time. They break the fourth wall a lot. When you start doing these intrusive thoughts, it's breaking the fourth wall because it's doing something that's so unusual for you that it feels almost like this is my movie, this is the character. I'm gonna make this character do something crazy because why not? Make the character do something wild. Like if I wanted to put my mic down, I allowed that intrusive thought to come through and it felt good. Like it feels so freeing to just do certain things. And that sense of freedom just opens you up. Remember, spontaneity is about expansiveness, growth. That's why it's so important for us. It's important for our well-being to break out of the patterns that we have that keep us down, that keep us downtrodden, that keep us under, right? And when you follow your intrusive thoughts, it also helps to increase your ability to act quickly and urgently before you change your mind. A lot of us talk ourselves, or not even talk, we think ourselves out of great ideas that would bring us so much peace, happiness, freedom. Follow those intrusive thoughts because they can lead to somewhere good. An intrusive thought that comes up for me a lot is like people from my past who I miss who I just haven't spoken to in a long time. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. If I follow that intrusive thought, I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. I can just text them like, hey, what's up? And so I'm allowing that to happen. I did that recently, right? So you follow these intrusive thoughts and you start to trust yourself more because it's so easy, especially if you're smart. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're smart enough to think your way out of something good for yourself. That's how smart you are. And that's problematic. You can't think too much. Like, stop thinking so much. Just do. Just do. And this will translate into your life as a creative. This will translate into your life as someone who's building, who might be an entrepreneur, a business owner. Because if you're able to act quickly, you're able to just act fast on your ideas before you can think your way out of them. Okay. And this moves on to our next reason why spontaneity is so healthy. And it's because it proves you can create something out of nothing. When you act fast on your ideas and you do something, you have created something from a thought, an intrusive thought at that. And now you have this thing in front of you that came out of your mind. Recently, I had this craving for a soda. I don't drink soda, y'all. I'm on a health kick, a lifelong health kick. And so I don't drink soda, but I know soda is just syrup and sparkling water, like syrup and seltzer water mixed together. But I said, I can make myself a healthy soda at home. So I decided to make myself a sorrel type of drink, which sorrel is a Caribbean beverage. I believe specifically Jamaican, although people all over the Caribbean and honestly different cultures as well have hibiscus drinks that are similar to sorrel. So it's hibiscus and then spices, and then some type of citrus. So I made myself a tea. It's basically a concentrated tea, and I didn't include ginger. Sorrel usually has a lot of ginger, but I had hibiscus, gotu kola, cinnamon. I added some clove and some lime. And then I added some maple syrup to make it more syrupy and sweet. And then I added some seltzer water in that. And boy, oh boy, I created a delicious soda that was almost like a hibiscus kind of healthy Dr. Pepper type of vibe. And I actually took a video, so I'm like, I have my phone, I might as well show y'all. Yep, it was so good. But I followed that intrusive thought. I was like, ooh, I have a craving. I have a craving for this thing. And getting in the kitchen and just following your cravings, whether that be drinks or food, create the craving. Create the craving. Follow that intrusive thought. Okay? It shows you that you can make something out of nothing. I posted a video a while back on how getting in the kitchen can impact your creativity. I forget exactly the name, but I'll link that in the description for you as well because I kind of talk about how food really can change you, like your creativity, especially if you're getting in the kitchen and making things, how it can actually help to make your dreams come true. And part of it is because we can give our spirits information through the actions that we do. And when you're consistently creating things out of nothing, you're giving your spirit that information that, hey, I can create something out of nothing. It doesn't matter if it's food or this business idea, I can make it happen. And when you start to do this, you get to your desired outcomes faster. The faster you start moving on your ideas, the faster the desired outcomes come. And part of that is because you're going to be failing faster. Failure is so important. The book by Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, 33 Laws of something something. He talks about failure. Failing faster is one of those laws. And it's because the more you fail, the faster you're getting to that success. Every no is bringing you closer to a yes. I love when people post those statistics about artists and stuff who, like, they made so much art or something, and then this one painting kind of blew them up or made them who they are, but they had so many that just went under. And we need to get used to this idea that, yes, some people have that success overnight, but they still have to maintain it with continuous reps, right? So you might as well just be doing those reps anyway, right? Because when you don't have that overnight success, you have the reps, you're doing it, you're doing it, you're doing it, and then it'll come. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it doesn't, but you never know which one is going to be the hit. So you gotta keep doing it. You gotta keep acting on your ideas and bringing them to life. You gotta keep bringing this spontaneity into your life to create an expansive life of beautiful health, of beautiful wellness, and just overall being an abundant well-being. Okay, an abundant self, an abundant person. And in the span of 5 months, y'all, I hosted a international Women's Day market. I had multiple vendors. I had like 14 vendors, and it was just like all women. We had juices and smoothies. People were buying. We had Pilates. I hosted a whole vendor market. I sold my body care products because I have a body care brand. I sold food because I love to cook. I love nutrition, and so I decided to go and make some healthy smoothies and healthy Jamaican style patties and go ahead and sell them. And like I mentioned earlier, I was a food photographer as well. And I wore all these different hats in a short period of time because I'm not afraid of failing. I go where my intrusive thoughts lead me. And maybe we can rename these intrusive thoughts. Like they're not always intrusive in a negative way. They can just be ideas. And we can call them like breadcrumb thoughts. Like, what are we following? What are we doing next? Right? Just bring your ideas to life. You never know which one is gonna just be the thing that pops off and continues to pop you off. You want to continue. Popping off is not a one-time thing, guys. Popping off is not a one-time thing. One hit wonders, that's a tragedy. We don't want to pop off once. We want to pop off multiple times. We want to pop off a lot. We want to continue popping. All right. We want to be popping, period. Like, we just want to keep popping. All right. So keep bringing those ideas to life. It doesn't matter if you're super successful in one area, you might pivot and you're going to have to pop off again and again and again. So allowing yourself to be spontaneous and expansive is going to aid in that popping off. Let's not be afraid of these thoughts that come into our heads. After all, they're just a thought. As long as you're not trying to hurt nobody, or it's like, you know, let's say this is the positive side of thoughts, this is the negative side of thoughts. We're going to stay over here on the positive side of thoughts, all right? When those thoughts come in, we follow them. We follow those breadcrumb thoughts to see where they will lead us, right? Because selling food for me was like a dream come true. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted I see myself as a chef. I have plenty of cooking videos on this channel if you want to see that. I see myself as a chef. So getting to just have people pay me for my food felt really good. And it felt like, okay, I can see this being something that I do. Maybe not right now though, because um, I realized that the pursuit of that is not for me right now, just because I put so much into it and I did not get the return that I was hoping for. I'm an optimist, right? I didn't get that return. And it was enough for me to see that and say, all right, I'm gonna move on to the next thing and I'm still gonna be successful. I was successful at that. It was just like not as successful as I really desired to be. So the logistics weren't working. It's like I'm not about to be losing more money than I'm making right now with this thing. And that was a hard decision that I had to make. But you never know where that might lead me, right? Someone might remember, "Ooh, I had this delicious smoothie and this patty, Jamaican style patty. I need to find this girl so that she can cater my party." And then look, the opportunity might come in. With the food photography, right? People might say, "Oh, these pictures are fire. Who took them?" Then an opportunity. It's like you just have to let these things take their course, whatever that might be, and continue to be spontaneous. It's good for you, it's good for your health. I also found out that being spontaneous is really good for our memories. I think it's because it puts us in this mental state. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's DNS. Let me see. Okay, no, maybe not that. Maybe not DNS. It's something else. Okay, it's something, the state of being that we can get into where we're kind of doing nothing. I thought it was DNS because I remember someone said do nothing state as kind of like a way to remember it easier, but maybe I am remembering it wrong. However, when you're kind of doing nothing, there's some spontaneity in that because you're always doing something when you're doing nothing, like going for a walk or you're taking a shower or just twirling your hair and just letting your mind go. It's during those moments where if you were doing something before, like if you were studying hard before, and you take that break in between and just do something spontaneous, it allows your brain to really take in all that information. Versus if you're doing something like studying and then you go straight to your phone and start scrolling, it's harder for your brain to actually connect those dots, make those connections in your brain to hold on to it, to actually solidify it up in there and make it a memory. So, allowing yourself to be spontaneous helps your memory. It's related to being present as well. A lot of older people, they are more spontaneous because they probably have more time on their hands and they have thoughts that are just spontaneous thoughts that increases their overall health because it's being present. It's being present. It's just allowing thoughts to kind of just go into your mind. And I encourage you to be spontaneous. No one is coming to grab you and take you on an adventure when you're hoping that happens to you and you're waiting for someone to bring that excitement into your life. You can find yourself in situations with people who are toxic because you're going to get excitement from that toxicity. You're going to be looking for adrenaline, you're going to be looking for dopamine, but you need to be giving that to yourself. Stay golden.